if you feel like your child is too young, to kind of start opening the door to them and educating them on interacting with police. I don't think it's ever too early. Hopefully you all are registered to vote and going to get out there and place your vote. If you do not vote, you do not have a voice. I am suffering from something that some of you all may be dealing with right now. It's a little bit of depression as well as PTSD. I was asked, was I trying to racially unite or racially incite? Well, honestly, I feel that my goal is to racially unite. And this telephone, this camera, it is quite powerful. Social media is powerful. We can do something with this.
We just showed you a collection of videos Sandra Bland posted to her Facebook page. She died in a Texas jail 3 days after being arrested during what started as a simple traffic stop. Her death ruled a suicide. I'm back with Sam, Lonnie, Dondre, Ariva. Joining us now, Larry Levine, former federal inmate and founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants. I'm going to show all of us now a new video released today of Sandra Bland's booking into Waller County Jail. This is her coming in. It shows Bland changing from street clothes into an orange jumpsuit, making phone calls, getting fingerprinted and photographed. The video was released to dispel, allegedly, social media rumors that Sandra had been, that's her mugshot, and there was rumors that that was after she had died. And just for the record, that's not what a dead person looks like. That's a live person. Or that there was some mistreatment during the booking process or began or after she was booked. Larry, I want to go to you. Anything that you see in that video that the rest of us might not see, and does it dispel these rumors?
Looks all routine to me. It looks like a well-run jail. I mean,
why are you laughing?
Not a well-run jail. No, the police chief of that jail, he actually was fired from his previous precinct because of allegations of racism and police brutality.
He was the police chief of the neighboring town. They fired him, you're right, for racism and brutality. Yeah. Then the people elected him as a sheriff.
Okay.
Now, have you ever been in a jail to know what else?
But you're skirting that this is away from the fact that this is not a well-run jail.
What is a well-run jail?
How about the fact that there's all these inconsistencies with the dash cam video, with the security footage inside that jail, the fact that they wrote down the fact that they wrote down on pieces of paper that she was suicidal, but then there was no suicide watch? This doesn't sound like a well-run jail to me.
First of all, the dash cam video, that's the Texas Department of Public Safety. Right. That wasn't the county jail.
What about the security video inside that for 90 minutes, coincidentally, it ran all day, then the 90 minutes where she was in her cell, oh, wow, poof, what happened to that 90 minutes?
A jail that's not a well-run jail, people are being assaulted all the time by other inmates. They're getting mistreated by the staff. That is a well-run jail.
Why can't we say they need to do better?
Oh, all the jails. The jail was cited. The Texas Department of Jail Standards cited Waller County for not following standards.
Okay, so they need to do better.
Oh, every jail in America needs to do better.
Then we're on the same page.
Sam, am I right, and Larry, am I right? It's kind of like hospitals. Hospitals is never perfect. They're always trying to do better. It's always quality improvement.
Look, pick any restaurant in the country. Go ahead and look on Yelp and all these social media rating sites.
There's stuff that
you can find good stuff and bad stuff about any place.
Hospitals is what I'm familiar with, and it's no way to make it perfect, just impossible. But I want to bring in Deneen Manette. Deneen Manette is a criminal investigator. She's author of Messages for Joey. Deneen, you heard this conversation. What do you see in this video?
Well, I see a lot of things from the very beginning. And, you know, it's very an emotional situation, a very emotional subject, but I really think we need to stick to the facts. What I've seen from the beginning is that I see a cop that escalated a situation because, you know, of course, he should have told her to put her cigarette out. He should have just said, you know what, go ahead and smoke, and I'll finish this. Stick it when you're done. And she would have probably hurried up and put the cigarette out just to get this over with. So I see him acting completely inappropriately and unprofessionally. And I see the jail not taking into account the fact that she obviously has a depressed and previous suicidal background.
Okay, now, so that's a big deal, though, right? That she didn't get the mental health services she needed.
Yes.
Unless, hold on a second. Wait, Benita, I want to interrupt you 1 second. You told me something before you came in here about the orange color she had.
Okay.
Is it possible that they were identifying her as somebody by putting her a different color who had mental health needs?
Could be that she was of a certain sexual orientation. She could have had mental problems. She could have had physical disabilities.
So clarify that.
It is possible that the orange jumpsuit indicated she had psychological problems.
So they don't normally put someone in an orange jumpsuit or a colored jumpsuit. That meant something.
Correct. Although,
Dr. Drew, that is a completely speculative statement.
Yeah.
No one from the system, no one from the jail, no one from the district attorney's office, no one involved in this case has made that statement. So we're introducing into the situation
Reba, you're
facts
right.
that do not exist. So let's not do that. Let's stick to the facts.
Jumpsuit, Drew, that could have just been the jumpsuit that also was available.
It just showed up.
They take them out of a bin.
Yeah. But I
possible.
Before we go down the path of she didn't get mental health services, I want to at least open the possibility that somebody may have identified her as having some special needs. But Deneen, finish up. I'm sorry.
Okay, so those things to me are civil issues, and I think that there's something that should be followed up on with the family, why it was that she wasn't checked on more often, why was she put in a cell by herself, all of those things. Do I think that she was murdered or that there was some criminal activity that went on? Absolutely not, and for numerous reasons. I've listened to a lot of the interview with the girl who's across the hall, and I've looked at the tapes, and I do think that there's some issues with the tapes. But ultimately, those jailers, that is their job. That is their bread and butter. They have kids to go home to and mortgages to pay, and they're not just going to kill somebody because that person got into it with a cop. The cop was completely, once they book somebody into jail, because I've worked in intake. I've worked in that unit.
Okay.
I did it for years.
Okay.
Once you book somebody into the jail, you're done with them, and you go on back to your
So
beat.
they don't know who the cop is. They don't have any access to the cop or know what the cop is.
The cop does not just come in and say, hey, go kill her. This was 3 days later. She wasn't kicking. She wasn't banging. She wasn't being hostile.
But she was crying.
She didn't need to be restrained.
She was crying, Aretha.
She was crying, but she was crying
with all due
because
respect,
no one was answering her phone calls. She was crying because she couldn't get anybody of her 4 sisters to put together $125 each and bail her out of jail.
Okay, we get that. You know what? This is complete. We got to stop this.
Because
with all due respect, Deneen, I think having this conversation without taking into account the larger issues that are happening in the United States around African Americans in the hands of police officers is irresponsible for us. So we can't really talk about Sandra Bland unless we talk about the issues of trust and distrust in the African American community.
And I get that. There is a history here, and of course there's going to be, we're highly sensitive. There's an issue of law enforcement in the black community, and my God, this goes back ages. So of course we're very, very hypersensitive to this and to the mistreatment of our people in jail. I just feel like this particular situation is a little bit different.
But you're not being sensitive to the fact that there obviously is some great misconduct in this situation. And what you're doing is that you're speculating that there's no misconduct based on your experience.
Okay, Donna,
no. I do believe there's misconduct. Her being put in that cell by herself was not appropriate. Her not being checked on, her not having her mental health care given to her. Absolutely. That was completely wrong and is actionable. I just don't think anybody went in there and killed her for no reason.
Lonnie, last thoughts.
Well, and the misconduct that people are talking about out in the traffic stop, everybody's assuming that the cops were worried about that. If you watch the videotape after she's arrested and taken away, the cops talk to each other and they go, thank heavens that was all on videotape. Yeah, it's going to be okay. They figured everything was fine, that they handled everything correctly, and that the videotape would help their case. So where's the intent for them to feel like they had to shut this woman up?
Okay, hold it. Monsieur, I'm going to go to you as soon as we get back from this break. Okay, so hold on. We're going to continue this conversation. And later, a 911 dispatcher. This is an unbelievable tape. You're not going to believe